Hi there. I'd like to talk to you today about conflict avoidance. This is something that I have a lot of experience with between working in retail, collections, and now healthcare over the last 15 years. I cannot count how many times I have walked into a situation where I knew that the person was mad for one reason or the other. 99.9% of the time, it had nothing to do with me. This person's just angry, and I know that I'm walking into a situation where they're probably gonna start yelling at me. I hate it, but it's unavoidable sometimes. Is there anything that you can do to keep the situation from escalating? Drop a like if you have ever been in a situation where you knew you were about to walk into something tense and you couldn't get out of it, and you just wish there was something you could do to keep the situation from getting out of hand. Well, I'm going to give you a tip that you can use. Did you ever see that episode of Grey's Anatomy where there's the shooter in the hospital and April starts telling the shooter a lot of personal facts about herself in order to kind of turn her into a real person so that he won't shoot her, and it works? I hope that you are never in a situation that intense, but I will say that the idea behind it is solid. I use it all the time. I have used it for years and years and years, and I promise you it works. When you walk into a situation where somebody's mad, let's say that you're working retail and this person is called the manager and you're the manager, and the only reason that they've called the manager is because they're mad, and so you have to go in and, how can I help you? What can I do for you today? Or, collections, every phone call I made, the person was mad to have to answer the phone and speak to me. And unfortunately, in healthcare, this happens a lot. You're kind of catching people in a place where they're hurting or overwhelmed, or just generally overwhelmed is probably the best word. And you're just not getting them at their best, to be honest. This happened to me the other day. I had a patient who had misunderstood when I was going to come and see him. I had said that I was going to be there at 11:30. He understood that I was going to be there at 9:30. So at 11, when I hadn't shown up yet, he calls the office furious because I didn't show up when I said I was, and I didn't even give him the common courtesy of calling him to let him know I was going to be late. And I'm over here bebopping through my day thinking everything's fine because I'm right on time with the schedule that I'd set. I actually got to him 15 minutes earlier than when I had planned. I think I'm doing great. And I get this call from the office that says, he is furious with you. Just want to let you know, he just chewed us out. And I'm like, come on. I hate it when this happens. That's why I always repeat myself 2 and 3 times when I'm setting the schedule of what time I say I'm going to be there. So I walk into his house knowing that he is just fuming mad at me. And I know it's a miscommunication, but let's be real. He's 95. He's already had 2 drinks that morning. He is ready for a fight. And I'm supposed to calm him down and convince him to participate in therapy with me. So I get into the house and my energy is positive and upbeat. Hi, I'm Julie. Nice to meet you. First time seeing him. Nice to meet you. Hope you're doing well today. Are you having any pain anywhere? And I just start talking, asking my questions, doing all the things I do. I'm being upbeat. I'm being positive. I'm acting like I don't know there's a problem and that there's no reason for anybody to be upset. And I will tell you, this throws people off. When you are acting like there's no problem, they have a harder time getting into the groove of being mad. They are mad, but because you are acting like everything's fine, it's not giving them the foothold that they need to start tearing into you. What this also does is it buys you a little bit of time where you can implement this other tactic to help smooth things over and keep the situation calm. So as I'm doing this, hi, I'm Julie. How are you? Are you hurting anywhere? Have you had any falls lately? And I'm just talking to him and I'm doing my questions on my computer and I'm just rolling, and I'm not giving him a chance to really say anything other than quick answers to my questions. I'm acting like everything's fine. I'm setting myself up to do therapy like I came in for that day. And I see that there's a kitty cat in his lap. And I said, "Oh my goodness, is that your kitty? He's so sweet. What's his name?" "Oh, I have a kitty cat. She is the sweetest thing. She's always snuggling with me. Her name is Evie, blah, 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 blah. She's really skittish though when other people come around, but she's always sneaking into my boys' rooms and blah, blah, blah." And so I'm telling him, I've got a kitty cat. This is her name. I have 2 boys. They love my kitty cat too. And I'm dropping this information in the conversation about who I am, a little bit about my family, my animals, my day. And I'm building this picture for him of me as a real person. I'm not just some blank face in a mask that's coming in that you can just scream at and there's no repercussions for that, because people will get it in their head that you are as emotional as a door and that they can just say everything they want to you and it doesn't matter and there's no consequences and they can just unload 6 months worth of stress on you in 5 minutes and somehow they think that's okay. And it's not okay. So what I try to do in these situations is quickly establish I'm in a good mood. I don't see any reason for us to be upset here. I'm a real person with a real life. And this one conversation you and I are having is just a really small part of my day. And I'm trying to help that person zoom out and get a better perspective of the situation. This is a person who's trying to do a job, who's coming here to help me. There was a miscommunication about the time. Let's make that time miscommunication a fraction of the information about what's going on right now, instead of making that one thing the whole problem. And it worked. There were some other things that I did because he'd already had 2 drinks that day. He was settling in for lunch. He was, in his mid-90s, and he was very adamant that I was not going to charm him into anything, but I did. And we actually did get the therapy session done and everything was fine. And he was laughing by the end of it and everything went just great. But it's because of the way I handled it. If I had walked in there like there was a problem, if I had walked in there defensive, if I had walked in there apologizing, if I had walked in there trying to explain myself right off the bat, none of that would have worked. I walked in there happy. I'm in a good mood. How are you? I'm going about my business. Let me find these ways to sneak in some information about who I am, what my life looks like, that I'm a real person. And then we can get down to the business of this miscommunication that happened about what time I was going to show up today. So there's one for you. We can do many more below. If you've got some great suggestions about how to deal with people being mad, some tips or tricks that you like to use to avoid conflict in these situations, drop them below. We would all love to hear them. And make sure and give this video a like if you can relate. I'll be doing more videos on conflict in the future, and I'll see you there. Bye.